Hi y'all, welcome back to episode 2 of The Blind Beef. Blokes and brews.
And a lot of bullshit.
Thanks for tuning in again.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those few people that tuned in last week and this week, well, bless you and bless your soul, because this is supposed to be a continuation and an evolution of the journey that is the blind beef. I think
This is a lot of fun for us to do. So all the support you guys throw at us by watching the videos, listening to it, it means a huge amount for us to
100%.
keep doing it, which is awesome.
What they said. Yeah.
What are we drinking this week, boys?
So, I had planned to get us I had this whole spiel that I was going to get into where it was going to be, we were going to drink Carlton Draft, and I was going to say it was a nice craft beer taken from the middle of Abbotsford, and, it has certain textures and characters, and I was going to hold up a Carlton Draft and be
Right.
Yep. But no, we drank them before they got here. So, I'm having a Carlton Dry. And
beautiful. Well, I've bought a roadie, a James Squire's Pale Ale, 150 lashes. So, look, it would have been cool for you to do that, but that's okay.
Right.
And it's actually testament to the quality of the beer that you've already drank a few of them. So, look,
It's a good beer.
It's good.
Carlton Draft is a good beer. I don't give
delicious.
a fuck what anyone says.
The most popular beer in Australia.
Is it really?
Really? Yeah.
Read today that 17% of Aussies drink Carlton Draft.
17%.
Which is 17% of the entire population.
Yeah.
Which is 5% more than the next one, which I believe is Vic.
Right.
I think.
Did you know Vic VB is now taking over 4X Gold as Queensland's staple beer?
Yeah.
Well, they both taste like shit in my opinion, so it's like...
Oh, VB's alright.
It's okay. Come on. It's alright. It's okay.
VB's great that first sip.
Out of a can,
really
it's
cold.
Out of a can, freezing cold, it's alright. It's good. Yeah, it is good.
I like it out of the tap though.
Out of the tap.
Out of the tap's good.
Out of the kitchen tap.
I fucking love a kitchen tap full of
How'd you
VB.
read that? That's amazing.
People have done it. Fuck, what did I see? It was one of those viral videos from years ago where these cunts, this guy went away on a holiday with his wife or something, and they were gone for a really long time, and his mates had keys to his house because they were house sitting. So what they did is they changed his entire piping system so that when he got back, all his things did beer. His bath, his shower, all the sinks, everything was
His wife would have been pumped.
just hooked to beer. Yeah.
God. What?
Trying to watch the baby.
Yeah.
VB coming out of the tap.
Fuck, dude. That's a messed up childhood.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
So I was reading today, what was it? I think out of all the beers in Australia, Carlton Draft, Vic Bitter, Tooheys Premium, there was Tooheys is really popular.
I would not have thrown that in there.
I'm not too sure why.
I don't like Tooheys at all.
It's really, really popular with a lot of people.
Right, okay.
And there's another one.
On the phones.
Straight away. 5 minutes in.
I'm just double checking. I don't want to give the wrong information to people.
In the interim, how was your week, Nelson?
My week was alright. My week was...
Here we go.
My week flew by, actually.
Right.
It feels like yesterday we were here.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we're back.
We're back
I've
again.
done a full week of work and everything's happened.
Do you feel like you've learnt enough shit to have a full podcast chat in a week?
No. I feel like I shut my eyes, open them, and now I've got to talk for another hour about something.
Cooper's Pale Ale and Crown Lager. They're the two that I was thinking of. They're the third and fourth. Yeah, Crown
Okay,
Crown
Coopers
is-
I can understand. Crowley's fucking shit though.
Fuck Coopers.
That's the thing. I think
Coopers are bad.
Right.
Remember
You don't like
why.
Coopers?
Tell me why.
No, remember they sponsored that ad with, it wasn't Corey Bernardi, it was like the Liberals about the gay marriage debate.
Right.
And they were saying it's okay to... Now, I don't want to give any wrong information, but basically the Liberals put out a short video that was encouraging like conversation around the debate whether gay people should be able to get married.
Yep.
And Cooper sponsored them because apparently they're like the family is super religious.
Right.
Really?
And so everyone was like, well, fuck Coopers, we're going to boycott them. Do you remember that?
No.
It was last year, like just before the laws changed, I think.
And this was a whole ad campaign.
It wasn't an ad campaign. It was like a 10-minute thing that was like two Polly's sitting around a table, meant to be having like a friendly discussion about the pros and cons of same-sex marriage, and they're sipping on Coopers and going, "Oh, thanks for Coopers for sponsoring this."
Right.
It was super weird and super out of the blue.
Right.
And so
Okay.
everyone was like, "Well, it's pretty clear where Coopers stands." So
And then they
we're not
proceeded
gonna
to
like
sponsor the Australian Open after that as well.
Well,
Now they're one of the major sponsors of. They're throwing money left, right, and centre.
well,
Coopers.
good or bad.
But I think that the whole beer thing. I'm really glad we're doing a beer episode. To be
Okay.
honest, because this is going to repeat itself. I think many times over. Because
Definitely.
I'm a massive fan of beer.
Of course.
A huge fan, and I'm sure the listeners are, and I'm sure that everyone that really
All the chronic alcoholics out
all
there.
of them,
and-
the real staunch, alcos. They love they love their beer.
a
They love their
lifestyle.
grog. Because the thing that I've loved about the evolution of beer the last probably 5 to 7 years is the fact that we've got your traditional Carlton drafts and VBs and lagers and drafts in Australia, but there's also been this massive movement of craft beer the last 5 years.
So you're
and
a fan?
I think I am a fan, but I'm also a traditionalist as well. So I mean, my preferred beer is a lager, rather than a pale ale or an IPA. But in saying that, I have had the odd craft beer that's really, really delicious and nice. But I find it's easier to drink many of the draft lager beers, back and forth.
Yeah.
So for the proverbial alcoholic, it's
hard to drink a lot of
wonderful.
IPAs.
It's hard, correct.
Yeah.
It's hard to drink a lot of those thick, syrupy, really kind of beers that feel like a meal.
But
almost,
they're designed for different things.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. One's designed for sipping, and one's designed for kind of
Smashing.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's nice that there's been an evolution of beer in the last 5 to 6 years where it hasn't just been sticking to the traditional, kind of stock standard beer at a pub.
Yeah, it's good that there's a bit more depth to the market. I remember going to Little Creatures on Brunswick Street for the first time.
Yeah.
And I went up to the counter and was like, "Can I get a beer?" And she was like, "Which one? Which one, dickhead? There's like 50 million on the board behind me. Which one do you want?" And I was like, "Fuck, when did this happen?"
So overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They closed down that joint as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it closed down.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is now anymore.
Fuck, I haven't been to Mothership fans.
I went one time for dinner, for a birthday dinner, and they were obviously doing their regular thing, but then they had in the midst of dinner and drinks, they just had this chick doing a hula hoop show, like on someone's table. They're just
Really?
like, all right, let's just move some shit out of the way, and she just got up and she had like 1,000 hula hoops, and she's just one of those full duffer like chicks,
Okay.
doing the hula hoop stuff, and it was just the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen.
Right.
It's a legitimate thing you can get lessons in now. There's people that teach hula hooping lessons.
Of
My sister
course.
had hula hooping
Right.
lessons.
Right.
A woman on my work does them.
No shit.
It's like a thing.
Isn't
All
it
of
good
a
for your
sudden.
hips?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Can you
hear
do that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Can you stand up and do that? Yeah.
Is there a video like good for your hips? It's supposed to be good for your good for your dexterity.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, good.
You're too
I
good.
feel better now.
You're too good at that.
I
It's
know.
weird. It's natural.
Yeah.
I'm good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. Speaking of beer, I'm out, so I'm going to grab one.
Can you get me
I can
a
definitely.
Carlton Dry, please?
So,
yeah,
I-
please yourselves.
Anyone listening from last week may recall that I'm doing a month of no drinking, which is why I'm on the waters tonight. But I did my calculations, and the day that I'm allowed to drink again is your party. And so I've taken the weekend off work as well.
That's a smart man right there.
Yeah. Well, I figured I'm going to be in the emergency room for quite a while. So
Yeah,
it's
I know. You're planning ahead. It's all about setting your goals,
Exactly.
putting it in your calendar,
Red
doing it.
crosses on the, the calendar.
You've been working a lot lately, haven't you?
I've been working a fuckload, 7 days, which is good but bad.
Right.
It's good because it's exhausting, but at the same time, you realise how much you have in the tank when you push yourself.
I would have thought that it being exhausting it makes it a bad thing.
Not necessarily, because it's good challenging yourself like that. There's no way you could do it forever. For me, it's just a short period of time.
Thank you.
To catch up.
Because you're... is there a goal behind it all?
Well, anyone that knows me, I spent the last sort of 6 months or so of last year travelling throughout Central America and a bit of Europe as well. And so I came back with no cash to my name. So the aim of the game for me at the start of this year was to really just get my finances back to a point where it wasn't a stress for me, because I hate being in debt. The feeling of being in debt to me is just riddled with anxiety. I can't do it.
Mm.
So the aim of the game for me was just to clear that and get my cash back up to the point where it's, I can go traveling again. Basically. So yeah, that's why I've been working so much. But give it, I don't know, a couple months and I'll be back on the weekends.
Yeah. Fair enough. Very good. Sweet.
What's your schedule?
I work every day.
Yeah.
I work. I try and. It's hard not to, because a lot of the stuff happens over the weekends in terms of planning and organisation, and I find that on days like Sunday when there's not much going on, they're the days that I like to do things that aren't particularly technically strenuous, if that makes sense. So I try not to edit or do advanced technical shit on a Sunday, but I'll write on a Sunday.
Okay.
Or I'll do other sorts of planning on a Sunday, but I work every day of the week.
Or do a podcast on a Sunday.
Or do a podcast on a Sunday, exactly. Yeah, real simple editing,
perfect
sound mix and all that stuff. Not that there was much of that on the last episode, but I work every day of the week.
Yeah.
But I think
So do you, kind of.
I do, yeah. And my day is dictated by whether I have to work from home or I work out.
Do you ever do stuff on Sundays?
Yeah. In fact, some of the best appointments I've sat are on a Sunday.
Is that because the clients are more
It's because the
receptive?
clients. It's their chill day. It's their day where they're not thinking about work. They're not thinking about kids. They're not thinking about everything else. For some context, I work in solar and I do a lot of consultations in people's homes. For those that don't know,
which is a really nice way of saying he sells solar.
Correct. Yep, exactly right. Bang on. But Sunday is like their kind of. Relax day. So their guard is down. They're more open. Well, it is. You know what I mean? Like, just get in there, slide in.
True.
But like,
they're more receptive.
They are. In all honesty, they are typically more open to learning about what they need to understand on a Sunday. However, I do enjoy my Sundays not working as well.
I think we all can agree with that.
I speak in universal language when I say that. Yeah. Anyway, pause conversation out of tradition.
Yeah.
Skippy the kangaroo. You can join it at home, by the way. Skippy the kangaroo lived in which fictitious national park?
Jesus, I would have no idea.
No.
This is another great thing about Carlton Draft, people.
Fictitious? No.
Did you watch the show? You'd be old enough.
I'm old enough. I reckon I was about 6 or 7.
Yeah. No, I never caught it.
Oh, I just know the wobble board, the song.
The wobble board?
Wasn't there a wobble board in the intro to that song from Skippy the Kangaroo?
Skippy.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Skippy the bush kangaroo.
Can't remember
the song.
That's the song, but I swear there's a wobble. Maybe I'm thinking
of Ralph Time, a kangaroo down.
Yes,
that one.
Yes.
That's like an anthem. Yeah. The place is called
Waratah. Okay, it sounds very real. All right,
it's a real place.
It's fictitious.
Here we go. This is
it's a real plant. It's not a real place. I think.
True or false? The moonwalk dance move was invented by the king of pop, Michael Jackson.
False.
True.
Boom, false.
It is false. Okay.
Yeah, false.
Yeah.
Who invented it?
Years ago.
Who invented it?
Black and white, like there's footage of it. Black and white soul singers.
True.
Don't know his name, but he's on stage doing it way back in the fucking early. It's like 40s or some shit,
It is.
Yeah.
There you go. But no one did it like him, did they?
No, that guy's like fucking butter or moving on butter.
Interesting. 40s. Wow.
I'm not like that's.
Oh yeah.
It's just old. It's black and white video.
Okay.
Speaking of really famous people who have passed, what are our thoughts on Avicii?
Oh yes.
Because that to me, he kind of sums up a period of my life where there are a lot of one-day festivals, a lot of commercial house, things like that. We were going to things like Stereosonic, Future, Summer Days. That period of time, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, that sort of music. I can't really think of anyone else, maybe Swedish House Mafia, that would encapsulate that era for me.
I agree. I think when you say, do you reckon, are you saying it was a pretty kind of shocking kind of event that he passed
Very
away?
shocking, yeah. Well, it was the first person for me that I felt played some sort of role in a period of my life, a celebrity, that passed.
That's passed.
So it was weird thinking about it, especially because he was so young as well. I mean, he was our age.
What was the context? How did he die again? Did he kill himself?
Yeah.
He killed himself.
Suicide in the end.
Yeah,
right.
he was battling depression for a long time.
I did
like,
hear
and
that.
drug and alcohol,
Serious.
or maybe not drugs, but definitely alcohol
Definitely
issues.
Surely drugs.
How do I feel personally? I mean, like, I liked his music, but I was never a super diehard fan. So when I heard about it, obviously I'm sad for him and his family and stuff, but I don't think I had the same resonating effect that it had on you, you know?
Yeah.
I think the reason that you may I don't want to tell you how you think or feel.
Tell me, please.
But I think tell me how I fucking feel. I think what you're feeling is a sense of attachment to the moments you had.
100%.
Your enjoyment was
100%.
your enjoyment was at a really, really high level.
Yeah.
As was mine and ours. Like at the time we're in festivals, so you associate that time with enjoyment and being pumped and
Of
like
course.
listening to music and loving your life.
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck, that cunt's dead.
Yeah.
Like it's such a shocking
Well, it seemed to be the closing of a
end
door.
of it.
Yeah.
The chapter.
On a period of my life
Yeah.
where, like you're saying, there was so much enjoyment and so much fun.
For sure.
And then when he died, it was like, okay, that's done. It also
100%, man.
killed a period of my existence in a weird way. Like a portion of my
I
life.
kind of felt a little bit. Sorry to cut you off.
I didn't even start, mate.
I know, but you were like,
I was like,
"Bleh."
it's a verbal think, you know?
Yeah. But I kind of felt like that a long way. It wasn't ages ago, but I kind of felt a little bit like that to bring back the MJ point when Michael Jackson died.
Right,
Because I was like, fuck, MJ's actually dead.
Yeah.
And he was in my childhood. You know,
It gave me
like,
context
growing
to
up with that.
understand like MJ, Prince,
or Prince,
Right,
yeah,
whoever it is.
I think Jackson for me was probably a bigger,
but he's
massive impact.
Yeah.
In terms of that,
Global.
but the same thing.
It's the connection that you have with the music and the period of your life where you. So mine is Five Dog from Tropical Quest.
Right.
You know, a rapper.
Cool.
You know, I felt fucking broken up when he passed away.
Yep.
Yeah, because of the same thing. Like lots of formative years listening to the music, listening to the albums, and then they go, and you're like, well, what the fuck am I doing now in my life?
Did he die when they were still making music?
Just after, so they had this massive hiatus for decades because there was beef between Q-Tip, the producer, main guy, head honcho, and Five Dog, the rapper. You know, they hated each other for ages, and then by kismet almost, they're like, we need to make music again. We need to make another album.
Right.
That's such a great word.
Yeah,
Kismet.
I
love it.
Kismet.
Continue. Sorry.
That's all right. And then, so what they did is they got the original member from the first album, Jerobi. So all the original guys came back to make their final album together.
Yeah.
And then they were still mastering and mixing the album, and then he passed away. So they were putting the final touches on, and it was like they knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they punched it out. And it's a sick album.
Shit.
But yeah, like I feel you boys, you know, just for different, you know, just different people.
But that's what I mean. It's about a unique. It's about a personal connection.
Yeah,
100%.
So obviously, you know, everybody's going to feel slightly differently if a celebrity passes away.
Definitely.
How do you feel about people? And this is what kind of annoys me about this. When people are like, oh, fuck, who can I give an example of? Just a random celebrity that dies, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, I'm so fucking heartbroken, blah, blah, Facebook, give me likes, da, 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 da. And like 2016 was a hectic year for that.
Yeah.
And you just got every cunt
so
in your
many celebrities.
newsfeed going, I'm so sad, I'm heartbroken, I'm fucking this, I'm fucking that. And you're like,
yeah.
come on, man. I mean,
It's all it is. Have you? Oh, fuck! I always forget his name. We might have had this conversation. I think we have.
Yeah.
Not Dane Cook. There's a stand-up comedian who does Anthony Jeselnik, who does a bit called Thoughts and Prayers. And so he's talking about when that happens in the world and there's a tragedy that occurs and everyone's wishing thoughts and prayers on social media.
Yep.
And he was saying all that is that person going,
Getting attention.
don't forget about me today.
he's a white guy, he's like a skinny white dude.
Black humour, like really dark. But
yeah,
it's so fucking true.
Yeah.
That you know, thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of
100%. 100%. And but
narcissistic.
It is.
100%.
It is. And there's also people. It's because they're famous though as well. Like because there's also people that are genuine in their remorse and their their care about it.
Of course, but
to an extent.
But why
you know?
do you need? What do you feel? What if people feel a compulsion to then put it on their social medias and their platforms
I agree
to say,
with that. I agree
"Think
with that.
about me"?
Yeah, I agree with that.
What you know?
That's the opportunity social media's given people though,
Right.
To do that, right? I mean, not to play devil's advocate, but anyone can do that now.
Social media.
They're going to do that.
Just on that, I want to talk about something that you tagged both Nolan and I in this week, which was an interview that the ABC conducted with and I don't fully know the backstory, which is going to kill my own point, but she essentially goes into homes and works with parents and children
Pink
around
hair.
consent. Pink hair. You tagged me and Nolan in this in midweek, I think it was.
It was like Tuesday, Wednesday.
And the whole thing's gone viral because basically she's come out and said that one of the things that she does when she's working with parents and children, for anyone who hasn't seen this video, it's basically like a 9-second clip from this interview where she says that one of the things they do is encourage parents to ask for consent when changing a child's nappy. And she says, obviously, the child isn't going to respond and say, yes, that'd be great. You know, please change my nappy. But she was saying that it's about encouraging an environment of consent and understanding consent within the house. So this has exploded and gone viral, and the response from people has been insane. People think it's ridiculous, which to a degree it is. And I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. But what frustrated me was that there was no effort from people to understand the context.
Yeah.
There was no effort from people to understand the source of the information. It was a knee-jerk reaction off a headline. And I think that situation sums up what is wrong with social media to me.
Of course.
Because you look at the page that posted that, it's beating a serious drum.
Yeah.
They had a poll, 30 seconds on the page, scrolling, they had a poll, and it was, can homosexuals change their behaviour? Yes or no? All this right-wing stuff, was all this support for Corey Bernardi, really just awful stuff on the page. And digging further into the interview this woman gave, she was obviously aware that what she was suggesting wasn't realistic, as if the child was going to be, and if the child says no, the parents are just going to leave him in a shitty nappy.
Yep.
It was about encouraging the conversation in the house.
Right, and
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that, and I respect her notion of doing that. I feel that if she is aware that it's a ridiculous claim or thing to ask of people, right? If you know that a baby cannot give consent and there's no way that that's ever going to help anyone at any point, why even talk about it? Why?
But she wasn't talking about babies. She's talking about for toddlers, 3 up.
Yeah,
you know, children that are aware of yes, no, can't.
No, but what she says is like that the child can't respond before the.
But they do it anyway.
Yeah, but they do it anyway. So she says, like you said, before the person can respond after she puts the idea forward, she cuts them off or doesn't cut them off, and she says, it's ridiculous that a baby would say, yes, mummy, please change my diaper. Like a baby would never say that because they can't say that.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre to think that a child would even remember this when they're 5 or 6 years old. But what we suggest is that, you know, you take a step back, you make eye contact with the child, you wait for body language, and that's a sign of consent. Like she would know what consent would be from a baby anyway.
Yeah, I don't think she's suggesting that if you don't get consent, you're just going to leave your child in a shitty nappy. I think what she's suggesting is that you're fostering a relationship with your child and an environment in the household where consent and the nuances of consent are understood.
Right, and I agree with that, but I think it's a step too far. It's a step too far in the extreme. Like, why does it have to be at day dot with something that is of that nature?
I think her intentions are really good.
Yeah.
I think her intentions are fine. There's no issue with the intention. I think the example's shit.
Yes.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the example's terrible. Like, don't use an example of a toddler, like grabbing their, you know, I don't know, like getting their food given to them, or, you know, saying please, or saying yes, or saying no, like something like that.
When the individual can understand what's happening as well and can learn from that experience, I feel that using the baby as an example is a bad call. Like, and that's why people are jumping.
She was asked, how young do you work with?
Right.
Children?
Correct. Right.
So she said we work with children from 3 up. Right. And then obviously that framed the conversation.
Right. No, she said from birth.
No, she said we work with parents from birth.
Yeah.
She said we work with children from 3 and up.
Okay.
But the issue is that I have is don't use the baby as an example then.
Right.
Use the example that has both of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And you know,
because
like,
I think the real focus for her, and she points this out, and she sent out a tweet later, but the point for her was that a huge proportion of sexual abuse happens when the child is like under 10.
Yeah.
So it's about having that conversation at a really early point with both the parents and the child.
Right.
So, you know,
Definitely.
the idea of consent is addressed. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Because a young child
present in
might
the
not
house.
understand what consent is.
When you say-
so
Exactly
you've
right.
got to teach them these things when
Exactly
they're with
right.
people that
Right.
aren't their parents,
Correct.
specifically
When you say-
friends, parents, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
When you say sexual abuse, what do you mean? From the parents to the child, or do you mean outside of the family? Or in just...
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it's probably both.
Okay.
Probably both, because the child would be the most vulnerable and the least, you know, the least capable of saying no.
Right.
But what pissed me off, I moved to bring it back to social media. What pissed me off was that you have this tide of response, of negative response, and no one is thinking, well, hang on, let's look at the context first. Maybe this is a more nuanced conversation than we're giving it credit.
Yeah.
Which it fucking is. The idea of consent is so complex.
Definitely, of course
and,
it is, of course.
You know,
Right.
it's not just like a yes or no, black or white thing. So yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting example of how social media can
Light
be
a flame and
dark.
then row with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, should we move on, or should we...
Yeah, no.
look,
I was still keen to get your...
I still
because
think
we
it-
hadn't spoken about it.
No, for
Right.
sure. I still think it's relevant though, and I still think the reason you posted it is massively relevant.
Yeah,
it's like,
of
that it's
course.
like when you get when you get something that's contentious as a topic, and then you use that to advertise that across different social media platforms. You're inviting the wolves. You know, you're inviting people to come in and critique it.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do that, do it in a better, maybe not a better is the wrong word, but do it in a more productive light where people can see, okay, you can use an example that's prevalent, not a
Yes.
newborn baby.
Yes.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And don't say in your argument, oh, this is a bad example. Use a fucking better example.
100%. Know your content and know what you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
don't understand that. It doesn't make sense.
And
That's a good point.
Like,
it's
it's bad on the part of the people who put this shit up or chose the clip as well.
terrible,
That's the
man.
thing that really annoyed me. So
They're
I was
not
annoyed by
policing
the
it.
content and the example that she used, right? Not by the
Yeah.
thing that she's discussing is great, and I think there needs to be more conversation
100%.
about it and teaching. Yeah,
Cherry-picked clip.
but it's
Of
a
course.
cherry picked thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if it was the ABC or the website particular that shows that little snippet, but
Yeah.
there needs to be more. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there needs to be
bigger play.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
So that then, like you said, people can read and go, okay, this is actually what she's banging on about,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
I can understand more.
Yeah.
And that's what is sad about a lot of the shit that happens now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, I mean, to roll with that, the social media thing, there was a massive uproar during the week. I'm not sure if you guys read about the 104-year-old guy, David Goodall, that went to Switzerland and
The assisted suicide.
Yes.
exercise his right
Yes,
for
yes,
euthanasia.
yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yep.
So, again, for a little bit of context, obviously euthanasia is legal in Australia and whatnot, and, you know, we're not at a point where we can easily understand people's
27.
rights or whatever. 27 minutes, thank you. So this guy, no terminal illness, no issues with him health-wise. He doesn't
Really?
have anything wrong with him per se. He's just old. He's an old dude. He's 104 years old. He's an academic, so he's a scientist. He's a really smart dude. He's done a lot in his life. He's got, you know, several grandchildren, you know, healthy family, everything like that. But he's just like, look, I've done everything I can do in my life. Don't really have anything that I need to achieve or want to do anymore. And I'm 104. Like, he's fucking old.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, it's my choice. You know, I want to end my life and I want to do it with dignity and whatever. So he travelled overseas to Switzerland because in Basel, it's legal to exercise your right to euthanasia. And
Even if you're not a citizen?
yes,
Really?
yeah.
They're good like that.
They're really good like that. The Swiss, mate, they know where it's at, mate. Roger Federer, you know, good cheese. I love it. Anyway, Banks, right, Franks.
Yeah.
So, David Goodall, great bloke, Aussie bloke, and the media at the time, I'll get back to the social media thing in a tick, but he did a press conference, bless him, 104 years old, what a king, before he, you know, kicked the bucket. I don't want to make this a joke. This is serious. But he was asked. If you could sing a song or if you could have a song played at your final moments, what would it be? And he was like, probably Beethoven's Ninth Symphony or some shit. I can't remember what he said. But then the reporter went to grab the microphone and move to his like doctor.
Yeah.
And then he grabs it and he's like, and he starts singing and he's like gets into songs like and he starts singing Beethoven. I'm like, what a sick cunt.
That's dope.
Yeah, like, and this is the day before he dies. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm going out with a bang.
Fucking why
Fuck
not,
these
mate?
cunts.
If you knew you were
You know
going to
what I
die
mean?
the next day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But watching that, I was like, who the fuck has the right to tell him when he can't leave?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
It's a good question,
He's
isn't it?
travelling,
Yeah.
and that's why I brought it up though.
Yeah.
Because, like,
That's
good on
what
him.
it boils
Good on him
down
for
to.
good on him for doing that. If he
Who
wants to
are
do
you
that,
tell me when I
and
can
what I
can't
think
do
is
it.
sad,
Yeah.
and this might be a contentious topic, what I think is sad is we forced him to travel to another country, to the other side of the world,
and end
to
his
do
life
that
somewhere else.
because he can't do it fucking here. And
Yeah.
he even said, "I would love to do this in Australia, but
Yeah.
I'm not allowed."
Yeah.
What the
Well,
fuck? Who are we to
yeah.
tell him he can't do that? You know, that's my opinion.
I
but
know
it's-
the Victorian Premier Dan Andrews is a big supporter of euthanasia because his father had cancer,
Right.
quite advanced cancer, and ended up passing away from it. And I remember there were a few posts from him last year. He's really active on Facebook.
Yep.
And he was talking about how awful it was to watch his dad slip away
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
agony and just become a shadow of himself.
Sure.
And how much better it would have been for him to pass away with
Pass away.
dignity. So I think they are. It's in the works.
Yeah.
And it'll
Yeah.
happen.
Oh, it'll
It's
happen.
like the same-sex marriage thing. It'll happen,
Yeah.
but the wheels move very slowly.
Slowly, of course.
I'm
Yeah.
worried. I'm worried about the nanny state that is Australia. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It takes a lot of things to happen in this country
Before we
a
solve
long,
any fucking
long
problems.
fucking time.
Yeah.
You know, and typically that's been the case with heaps of other topics.
Yeah.
And this is a really serious one. I think that should be really looked at properly. Then this guy is a crusader because if you think about it, there's nothing wrong with him. And he's been like,
Yeah.
well, fuck it. I'm going to do it myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. That tells me that the argument for someone that's terminal or has Parkinson's or doesn't know who they are or has an issue with, you know, like even having quality of life.
Yeah.
Let him go. Like, what the fuck is...
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's why the social media thing, which is why I brought it up, is that you got people going, oh, you know, we should do everything we can to keep them alive and this and that. And it's like... Why do you?
No, I don't agree with that.
Why do
Yeah.
you? Why
It's
do you
not your
care so
fucking
much? It's not your
decision.
fucking business.
It's got nothing to do with
It's
you.
got nothing
Unless
to do
you're
with
the
you.
family
You know what I mean?
or, you know, you're involved in that person's inner circle.
Even then, it's debatable because it's not their
Well,
life. You know?
yeah.
And almost that's a bridge that we maybe haven't taken yet.
Do you
but
think a lot of the people that are sitting on social media going, you know, against euthanasia are people that are religious?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm the least religious person you'll know,
Right.
Obviously, but I think there's an element to that for sure. But I also think that don't put your religion on other people. You've got a right to believe what you believe,
Yep.
and I'm not going
Yeah.
to judge you for that.
Yep.
But don't judge him for wanting to do that either. Got nothing to do with that.
There are plenty of people that are like that. But, as we said last week, the
frustrating.
maddest person in the room is
Is
going
the
to have the
loudest,
loudest
yeah, of
voice.
course.
So, you know, it's the people who are thumping the Bible that are, or the Quran,
Right.
or the fucking Torah, or whatever their
Right.
magic book they're following.
Right.
You know, we welcome
100%.
all listeners.
Spells,
Yeah.
black magic,
Yeah.
fucking...
Yeah.
Mate, I believe in Harry
Prisoner
Potter.
of
before I
Azkaban.
know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. What was my point?
Yeah, I said Harry Potter. He was like, what? Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, look, we're behind the times.
We're massively.
We're super
Yeah.
behind the times, and we're
Yeah.
all going to catch up. And it's like different nations do things better than other nations faster. You know, Portugal with the decriminalization of drugs, America with legalizing marijuana. It's like gay marriage and where the fuck that was first. You know,
Yeah.
different places are all doing it
All over
first.
the
And what's
fucking
good
world,
with
man.
globalization, and this is the upside of social media and everything being so accessible, is that one nation does it or one area does it,
Right.
and everyone
And it
goes,
follows on.
that's the good thing to do.
Yeah.
That's what we should all be
Yeah.
doing. And so
Yeah.
the fact that information can transfer
Exactly.
that quickly,
I agree with
everyone's like, this is what we should be
I
doing.
agree
And
with
so I think not exponentially, but in a small amount of time, we'll get a lot more change than say in the last 100 years with all these different things. You know,
Definitely.
so the cogs are turning. It's just there's a spotlight on everything now, and I think that's the best part of everything.
It's a very exciting time to be alive.
It's
You know?
extremely exciting.
Speaking of, should we speak about the other thing you tagged us in this week?
Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Okay, so
I'm gonna have another beer, by the way, because this is the beer
you've
episode.
burned through that. All
Oh,
right.
mate, look, we're not here to fuck spiders, kids.
No.
I might try this Carlton Dry. It's not my favourite, but I'll have one.
Okay, so Google, all seeing, all hearing, all super ultimate mega powerful Google have been developing voice recognition software for quite some time now. Now, without getting into the stuff that they listen to everyone all the time, that's where they get all this information, without a doubt. Anyway, they've developed the new Google Assistant. and it is next level advanced.
It's
Right?
amazing. It's amazing.
So,
terrifying.
for anyone that doesn't
so scary.
use Siri or OK Google or whatever it's called on Android phones, now you can just talk to your phone and say OK Google or Hey Siri.
Bixby.
Bixby.
It's so shit.
Can you make me a calendar appointment? Can you call so and so? Can you send me a text message? And it's usually very responsive and very accurate with what it wants you to do, but it still sounds very robotic. Nelson, I'm gonna take you there anyway. So they just had a keynote or something, where they were talking about the new technology, and it's about the next level of their Google Assistant. And what happens is this Google Assistant calls up a hairdresser, and the Google Assistant makes a hairdressing appointment by talking. And you cannot tell that the Google Assistant is not a robot. It says it pauses, it responds to them naturally, and when there's an issue that comes up, we don't have that appointment at this time. It goes, okay, well, how about an appointment on this day at that time? And it responds just like a human would without skipping a beat, right?
That's incredible.
And so I saw that first thing, and everyone's clapping, yeah, fucking Google! And I was like, I'm not impressed 100% just yet, because it could have been doctored. It's very easy to doctor these things. But then the second example they give that they reckon is a real conversation is
the Chinese restaurant?
Mind-boggling, dude. Mind-boggling.
Chinese restaurant.
So it's like a Chinese restaurant. It's like,
Chinese restaurant.
hello? And it's like, and it's a bloke talking out, and they're like,
so good.
hi, I'd like to make an appointment. It's not an appointment. I'd like to make a booking for 4 people at your restaurant. Like, you want delivery or takeaway? And then it's like, no, I'm looking to get a table for 4 people tonight. It's like, no, we don't do bookings for no less than 5 people. And it's like, okay then. Well, what are the wait times then? And so it responds naturally like you would if you're a human, and it goes, what, you want to come today? And it's like, no, like next week. And they're like, no, you will not wait at all. And it's like, okay, thank you, goodbye, and then it hangs up, and it's fucking like, it's seamless, dude.
Yeah.
There's no, like, the ins and outs of words, like, how you go up and down, like, as you go, intonation.
The tonality was amazing.
All there.
Yeah,
it's so, and it brings up all these conversations of like, is it weird that you might now be not talking to a robot and not know that you're talking to a robot?
So what a lot of people came out afterwards and said is that for that exact reason, there should be some sort of, for lack of a better word, disclaimer at the start of the phone call where Google says, by the way, this is Google Assistant, just FYI, 100%. I'm a robot. Rather than going, hey, I want an appointment, and the other person's like,
I reckon roll the dice.
But you know what? What's the difference?
But roll the dice, man.
What does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Why
I'm speaking to a robot.
Why do they need a disclaimer? Why do they need a disclaimer?
Well, I think there's a big difference. I think if
legal reasons,
if a robot was to call you, right, and it was to thanks, brother.
Legend.
Yes, delivery beers, lovely.
Nikki Cara in the house.
If a robot was to call
Google Assistant,
if a robot was to call you, or you were to call a robot, and you had sensitive information that you had to give across in some, I'm not sure what the circumstance would be, and you knew that it was a robot that you were talking to, something that was recording all the information and going to a server, you would be a lot more apprehensive about what you would say and what you would give away. Whereas if it sounded human and it sounded real, you would just, I feel, you'd feel comfortable, and you might give away more than, like, so think
that's true.
Like, if it's so advanced, information gathering, espionage, all these sorts of things, because what they can do now, I saw this thing is, within, it's like a 4-minute sample, a really short sample of your voice talking into a thing. It can then recreate your own voice identically, and then create it, like, say whatever it wants, So you could impersonate Donald Trump and call so-and-so to get so-and-so information, right?
I read something today, briefly, just to be on this topic, that there's a telephone scam going around at the moment where telemarketers are ringing up, or criminals are ringing up and saying, it's Peter from X company, right? We just need to chat to you about your phone bill, or chat to you about your energy service, or whatever it might be. And then they pretend like they can't hear them. So they're like, sorry, you're breaking up. Can you say that again? Can you say that again? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? And they get the customer to say yes in their voice, obviously.
Yeah.
And they loop that, so they cut that yes.
Yeah.
And then they use that to fucking get into their banking, get into whatever it might be.
No
for voice
shit.
recognition.
Really?
Yeah. Just to that clicked in my brain as soon as you said that. So that happens, man.
Yeah.
That is happening.
Yeah.
And there was an article on, I think it was Queensland newspapers today, about people getting stiffed for those sorts of things, and saying, look, if you hear if you get a call from a telecommunications company or whatever it might be, and they pretend like they can't hear you, fucking hang up and don't say anything.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's hectic.
I haven't heard
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if Google will be going for the same sorts of low-level
No.
scams.
But the voice recognition thing
it's
is
there.
happening.
It's there.
What
It's
is
already
Google's tagline? It's like "Do no harm" or something like that.
Ask Google. It's
What do you mean?
get Google to do it. That's the whole notion behind
No,
this
no,
voice.
no. I mean,
Oh.
they're like their ethos. It's summed up in like a phrase, like that's their embodies who they are.
Yeah, right.
So it's like Google. It's
Right.
it is something like "Do no harm" or "Do no evil" or something like that.
They're
So-
like
Mantra.
They're blurb, like their mantra kind of.
yeah, their mantra.
Okay.
So they're aware of like how much power they possess. Google is God.
They
over
run
the
the
next
they
50
run the
years.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a massive role to play because the amount of data they have on people. Like, so I talked about it last week with this book, Sapiens. If you haven't read it, do yourself a
Sapiens,
favour. Pick up a copy, read it, then get Deus. Because Deus talks about where humanity's going, and it's fucking fascinating. He talks about Google. And he talks about how, at what point do you leave your decisions to a information system that in all likelihood knows more about you than you know about yourself. So he uses the example of finding a partner.
Yep.
Google is going to be able to say you have a 40% chance of happiness with Christy and a 55% or whatever.
That's low,
60%
dude. That
chance-
is fucking low, Christy. You are getting the flick.
and a 60% chance of happiness with Sandra.
Right.
But what happens if you go, yeah, but Chrissy's really hot. I really like her. We had a
take the
great
risk.
date the other night.
Right.
You know,
Take
what
the
happens? You know, at what point do you go? You know what? You're tracking my every movement. You've read all my emails. You listen to my phone calls.
I think-
you know who I am for 50 years. You've calculated the information. You know all that information about Sandra as well. And so you go, well, you're probably going to be able to make this decision to a better capability than me.
100%. We would
How
be.
much do we hand over?
Yeah, okay,
You know?
but that's all data based and information based and empirical
feelings
evidence.
based,
It's
though.
exactly, and
Correct.
that's what it
That's
removes.
the
Like
thing.
It's
until
It's not
until
feelings based. It's not how you feel as a human.
precisely
So
until
there's still going to be a blend.
Yeah.
There's a blend.
yeah
There's
until
a blend.
computer systems can emulate or create their own emotional connections to things and understand how the human psyche works in terms of relationships. I don't think.
But that's
quantify
relevant.
emotions.
100%.
Why can't you quantify emotions?
Well, you may be able to, but I don't think the power of a computer system has the power of a human brain in that respect yet.
Not yet.
Because if
No,
you,
no,
if
yeah.
you and it fucking very well could be. But in my opinion, it's ignorant to think that it won't be able to.
Yeah.
It will get there.
Yeah.
And I'm reading a book also called Principles by Ray Dalio. I think I might have told you about it.
Ray Dalio.
Hedge fund manager.
Oh yeah. We spoke about this.
Really successful dude.
Yeah.
Ran Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Still runs Bridgewater for a number of years. And he talks about how AI is going to run the world. It's literally going to
Whatever
run
it is.
everything. That's what I mean.
Data is the world currency.
Yeah, it's the
new gold.
Information is the currency.
Correct, and it's been, but he's like, everyone's like, oh, it's new. No, it's been around for 50 years, the concept, but it's just how we learn it.
AI.
Correct, yeah, and how we learn it and how we master it, because the difference is going to be in the emotional and the feeling aspect of what it is able to do. Because right now, you can punch in an algorithm to a computer and it can make a decision way better than you can ever do,
100%.
and that's going to be the case moving forward.
Yeah.
But whether it can then, I guess, adapt to how we feel about our work-life balance or who we see or who we don't see. And he's of the opinion, he's like, we need to work with AI to make it wholesome and good.
Definitely, yeah.
We can't fight it because it's already here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've got to understand that what we've got is billions of years of evolution in a brain. You know, a human brain has been evolution for years and years and years, thousands of years.
But if Google knows that it's followed you for 25 years.
Yep.
And it knows that if you don't get home and into bed by 9 p.m. the next day, you're going to be less productive, you're going to be tired, you're going to feel like shit the next day. And so it's going to start being like, sure, remember, you got to go to bed.
Sure.
And you're going to it's going to seep into your life and start making decisions
100%, 100%. But I'll counter that and say that if Google monitors you, hello Google, right? If Google monitors, whatever, if Facebook monitors you, it fucking knows my shit, man. You should see the shit in my newsfeed. It's crazy. Anyway, if it follows you, and because you eat breakfast every morning, a computer might say, oh, humans are hungry every morning. You know, they're automatically hungry, so they might put link and two together. But it doesn't mean that necessarily, like, in the morning I'm never hungry, so I don't eat for X amount of time. But it might put that black and white perspective over my life. You know what I mean?
But if it's tracking your productivity, and it knows, it can say to you, over the last 20 years, you are 30% more productive on the days that you have breakfast, and your productivity leads to more wealth, which leads to more happiness. Yeah. So it goes, no, I know you're not hungry, but eat breakfast.
Yeah,
and so
that's true.
Even though you don't feel like doing what the computer is saying, like you don't want to choose Sandra over Christy,
right?
At the end of the day, you have to acknowledge that Google knows better.
It knows some shit, but they are still just suggestions. They're still just suggestions.
They can't force you to do anything.
Right. So there's the whole human equation that you need to take into consideration here.
What if it knows you're going to rebel against it, and so it tells you to choose Sandra?
It forces
because
you.
You're really better with Chris.
So it's like reverse psychology.
Because it knows you, because it's been following you for 20 years. Right. And it knows that you resent having a computer telling you which one is... Do you know what I mean?
Turn it off, mate.
Turn Google off.
Yeah.
That's true. You can't.
It's on your skin, mate.
You've got a chip.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It's just an interesting thought experiment.
No, 100% it is. Yeah. I just think it'd be futile to say one or the other. I think it's definitely relevant to have both. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of having the control to make your own decisions and have the choice, freedom wise, is something that no one can take away from someone.
Of course.
Or they shouldn't be able to take away from someone.
Well, you can
even a computer that knows you better than you. I don't care what it is. Having your own, ideology and your own life is crucial, I think, in evolution.
Yeah, of course.
But in saying that, yeah, look, I agree with that. The fact that, fuck man, it's only going to get more impactful and more powerful.
I can't wait.
I'm all for it, dude. You're making it sound bad. The more that my life can be automated, the pumped that I am.
He sounds like he's
happen,
describing what's that fucking movie where they put the chip in and they fucking go.
No.
Thank you.
Gattaca, yeah.
I did that fucking movie in year 12. Did my head in.
Yeah.
Good movie though.
Great movie.
We did Fight Club in year 12.
That's good.
What?
Yeah.
How do you get Fight Club and I get Gattaca?
I went to school in Footscray, mate. It was education.
Right. Education. The teacher's like,
when you step out these door, kids, you better be ready.
The teacher's like, okay, what can I get them to watch that they'll actually watch?
Yeah, it was great.
Fight Club.
We read the book and watched the movie for literature.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I thought that was just such an interesting glimpse into the future.
It is. Yeah. Definitely is.
Yeah.
2-minute video.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I'm pumped though, man. The more that we get closer to the movie Her, the better it is for everyone.
I've never seen that.
You haven't seen Her?
I haven't watched it yet.
It's great.
Everyone says that, but
it's really good.
Really sad.
Is that with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I think I've seen the trailer for that.
So they're at the point where they've got these virtual assistants that sound like Google, that they're all connected to your computer. So you can get it to do tons of tasks pretty autonomously, yeah? And then, let's just say Apple releases a new operating system, yeah? So it's some company that releases a new operating system, and it's the first artificial intelligent operating system.
Yeah.
So you turn it on, you say male or female or whatever the fuck you want it to sound like, and then it just goes, you've got 10,000 emails, how would you like me to sort them for you, and it'll talk to you, and they immediately learn from what type of person you are, how to change your life. And so then they're jacked into your ear the whole time, like they wear these little earpieces. And so, it's just all about human relations with these AIs that all go online. And then, Joaquin ends up in a relationship with his AI, like he falls in love and they fall in love. And I'm not going to say any more because it gets real, blah, 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 blah. But it's our near future,
See, I love the idea of AI. Like Poe from Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah.
What a great character.
He's sick, dude.
And you go to that little realm where it's all... Have you watched it?
All AI.
It's all AI. So it's this hotel that is an AI being.
Cool.
And it represents himself as the attendant for the hotel.
Yeah.
He's a great character, but I love that he would go to this weird digital realm and meet all these other hotels,
Right.
And they would play poker and stuff, and, and talk about the customers. And stuff.
Yeah. And they're weirdly like, it's not racist, but they're like AIs, humanists. Like they,
Really?
as AIs, they think that humans are below
like
them
inferior.
and inferior and shit.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Which I think is
So
fucking
there's
hilarious.
ironically-
Possessive of guests, like like, don't you dare touch their hotel
So
guests.
there's
Yeah.
there's like an ironically humanized element to the AI.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely,
that's cool.
definitely,
That's really
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that in the idea of it's kind of random, but you just remind me of like gods, and like the Greek version of gods were always really human. Like they would get jealous and they would get angry and
Ruled
stuff
by
like that.
emotion.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. So it'd be interesting if AIs did develop emotion, because then you have this.
Well,
Well, that's the purpose.
Well, I
the
think-
purpose is
yeah,
to get them
for sure, I
as human-like as possible, but a way better version of a human. So a human on meth times a billion. So that's more like the way in terms of how quickly
I
they
understand what you
operate.
mean.
You know what I'm getting at? Like how fast they operate, how quickly they think, how fast they can run down the street. That's
Get that junkie strength.
yeah, exactly. That's what they want. But to have a human, element to it.
It's always going to be more appealing for a human to see something that's near future for them, or like very close to what they are.
Yeah.
But just slightly improved.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that's out of reach and is like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's too fucked up.
How's this for an idea? This would be great to watch. Robotic Olympics. So you have like AI robots that
That
are
would
all
be
like
sick.
juiced up on the ultimate mechatronics or whatever, doing sports, man. You wouldn't watch human Olympics anymore.
No.
No,
Way.
fuck that.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
You just-
But I mean,
fuck.
but like, would the robots
javelin
cry if they got
Yeah.
silver? Would they cry if they got silver? Would they hug their coach?
Well, this is who
They-
knows? Like,
No, it's just like who can build the kind of like Robot Wars, but
Yeah.
for Olympics.
So
better.
the actual gold medal will go to the human that built the best robot.
yeah.
yeah. But the robots might be building their own robots. We're literally like the cheer
Where does
squad.
it end?
Like,
Where does it
Robots have
end?
their own Robot Olympics.
Where does it end?
Yeah.
Does the robot that made the robot get the gold, or the actual
Maybe that's
robot
what
that
we
does
are.
the?
Well, that's what there's like.
Shut up! Stop it! You're freaking me out. We're going too far down the rabbit hole. I'm drowning.
That's what that self-replicating robots is one of the theories that like astrophysicists and people that like aliens and into all that shit reckon is one of the fastest ways
To
of
colonize.
and scout galaxies is
Yeah,
that
okay.
you
I
create
remember reading about
self-replicating
that.
satellites and
Yeah.
shit that then go out and then you send one to each solar system and then they just replicate and go, replicate and go. And
Isn't
then,
that the concept behind Prometheus, the movie?
I haven't seen Prometheus.
Okay. That's
I've seen
surprising. I
Prometheus.
thought
Is that
it
with
was-
like blue dick guy, really shredded, like bald?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
he looks like Warren Treadway.
yeah, it does.
He's spinning.
Tredrevius.
Yes, I'm so glad you remember that. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So that's Prometheus.
Yeah,
He looks like Warren Treadway.
Fucking flashback.
Dude. Yeah.
Good
That-
movie.
Right,
Kind of.
Okay.
Mushies were good
Good
too.
movie-ish, kind of. Not really. I hated it. It sucked dick. It was the worst.
It was pretty shit.
Yeah,
It was
terrible.
pretty
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
No, it's
But
actually the start was interesting.
And then you
Right,
maintain
yeah,
you maintain
yeah.
concentration.
Yeah.
I don't know. God knows.
It had a
how
good,
to
really
do
good poster,
Yeah.
But the movie itself
I
was,
remember feeling excited.
yeah,
that. Triple M gave me nothing for that, by the way.
yeah, which was
They gave me nothing. I was
Triple M.
shattered.
Oh,
Because
I've
I
seen
sent a
meme
little
through
meme
this.
through to Triple M.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this will
Yeah.
be on radio, millions of likes.
No, they're dinosaurs, man.
Mate.
Oh,
Forget
explain to the listeners and the viewers.
Okay,
the
so
little thing.
so back in the day,
And I'll put the picture up if we can find it.
I'll put okay, very good. I'll find it for you.
No, don't. We'll
So-
just talk about it and then we'll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
very, very.
Yeah.
So we about probably 2 or 3 years ago, we were watching the footy and watched Prometheus, which is what we're talking about now. And I immediately thought to myself, okay, cool. This main character looks like Warren Treadway, who plays for Port Adelaide. Big dude, centre half-forward, big clunky guy. And the killer was the fact that we were on about 3 or 4 mushy caps at the time, so we were very.
That we were. Yeah, just right.
We
Yeah,
were very
okay.
deep. We were very deep in our humour and our love for life and our love to laugh. So we figured out very quickly that this was very funny, even without the mushrooms. But the mushies made it even funnier. So for those that know who Warren Treadray is, if you watch Prometheus, you'll never watch it the same again.
No.
Because of the simple fact that the main character is actually him, and it's that guy. So yeah, have a look at the movie, have a look at him, and you'll see what we mean.
Yeah.
And it's quite humorous.
Here's the meme. There it is. There it is.
Thank you very much.
You go. There you go.
Excellent. So
We've got about 5 minutes left.
perfect.
What do you want to...
Look, I think,
anything you want to touch on in the last 5 minutes?
Anything I want to touch on? What do I want to touch on?
You got a gripe of the week. Have you got a gripe?
Have
you got a beef?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
My gripe of the week goes to the Illinois police.
Ooh,
Kez.
what's happened?
So, Illinois are one of the states in America that are pushing for legalization of marijuana. Right? And they have come out recently with a series of comments about the fact that if they did, in fact, legalise chuff in that state, it would put a lot of their police force out of work.
Oh,
And when they say police force, they're not talking about the two-legged variety. They're talking about the four-legged
the dogs.
variety. The dogs, right?
What?
So, yeah. So, what they're saying, and this is fucking ridiculous, but what they're saying is because of the fact that the state of Illinois puts so much money and so much finance into
Drug-sniffing dogs.
Drug-sniffing dogs, and particularly for marijuana, because that's the chief thing that they look for, they hunt for, they sniff for, that legalising marijuana would be a windfall for drug dealers, which first of all is a crock
bullshit.
is a crock of shit.
Yeah.
Because if you legalise marijuana, that's actually bad for all the bad guys.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So there's
Losing their business.
There's a fault in the argument already, right?
Yeah.
And then they go on to say that but we've put all this money into training the dogs the right way, so we'll have to either untrain them, which will cost lots of money. Yeah, wait for it.
Forget everything I told
Untrain
you.
them or euthanize them.
What? No! What is wrong with these
So
cunts?
that's exactly my point.
That's
So this is
them
my
pushing
gripe.
an emotional
My gripe
button.
of the week is the Illinois Police Department,
Right?
Because that's what came out in the media this
ridiculous.
week. And the fact is that if you look at,
They're clutching at straws. Of
course they are.
That's a
But-
bullshit argument.
you know what it is because what it boils down to is if you read the article, and I can post it and whatever, and people can read about it, is the fact that they make so much money, particularly police departments, on searches, warrants, and arrests, that they're incentivized to make these arrests.
It's
right?
about crunching
It's
numbers
about
and hitting
crunching
targets.
numbers and hitting targets.
That's how their
So
police
if
force
you
is
if you think
designed.
about a police dog,
private
or
prisons.
a dog sniffer, right? Then the success rate for actually obtaining marijuana or obtaining any kind of narcotic in terms of sniffing is actually only about 30 to 40% in terms of them finding something on them, right? So the reality is it's not about whether they find something, it's about them getting to a point where, okay, cool, we can smell, or the dog can smell remnants or some sort of drug on this person. They might have smoked 6 months ago and just have residue on their pants, whatever it might be. But if they
That's
have
some dank shit.
right, that's some good shit.
hell.
The chuff is good in America. It's a lot better than it is here.
yeah.
Anyway, that's another story for another day. But the reality is, if you get the opportunity to search someone because the dog smells weed, he sat down, bang, he can then search your car, the cop can search your car, he can confiscate thousands of dollars if you've got money on you, he can confiscate anything that you own, whatever, in the car, whatever. So it gives them a license to fuck you over.
Fuck people,
And so that's why they don't want to get rid of the dogs, and they don't want to legalise marijuana in that state.
There's
so
many-
Illinois
because-
Police Department, fuck you.
Yeah,
That's
figure
my
it
gripe.
out. And
That's my
the
gripe.
thing is, as well, like, it's a very selfish way of looking at doing your own job, right?
absolutely it
So
is.
let's say that they got over that, right? And they didn't get their way and they had to retrain the dogs and all that stuff. What would it would force a shitload of them to do? Because I don't know what the percentages are, but their staple of law enforcement in America is busting people for drugs.
Of course.
right?
Yeah,
Particularly marijuana. So if you remove the notion of what your backbone of law enforcement is, you have to retrain a fuckload of cops
100%,
to do their job properly,
100%.
and those cops then have to go out and do their job properly,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And I don't think they train their police very well.
It also
for many
means
reasons.
It's a
they
very
lose a lot
deep-seated
of
issue.
funding.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
deep-seated.
They lose a lot of funding as well. If they remove the drug laws from their
Fucking
repertoire,
hell, cunt. Jesus Christ.
you smacking
What?
him.
Yeah, just killing them. Just putting them, just fucking tipping them back.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, there's still a Carlton draft here.
Yeah. Just go for it, mate.
Ooh, yours, I reckon.
Yeah.
They lose a shitload of funding, which obviously pays wages and bonuses and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And they get equipped. There was a documentary that was released a while back. They get equipped with military
Wait?
Guacamole.
They get equipped with military grade equipment. And in the contracts, a lot of the time, it says if this equipment is not used within the first 12 months, then you have to give it up.
Give it up.
So what do you think? What sort of incentive is that for the police force?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to go out there and
100%.
bust down doors and grab people for
100%.
possession, throwing in flashbangs through people's homes.
Yeah.
You know, what do they call it? No knock entries.
Yeah.
Where they fucking
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
3 a.m. and then bang,
Bang. Knock people in.
Yeah.
because someone's got a fucking butt of weed in their pocket.
Yeah.
Ruining lives.
Have you seen this shit? Have you seen this
lives.
shit back from? This is like in the 90s, what they used to do in LA, particularly with the gang culture and stuff. They used to have, I can't remember the exact name, but it was essentially a tank, right? They had a tank that was grey or blue, and it instead of a turret that shot missiles, it just had a massive battering ram on the end. And what they used to do with like cracked ends and shit is that, like what you just described, but they would ram the front of the house in with this tank, potentially killing anyone inside, and then SWAT teams would go in and shoot gangbangers and arrest people and blah, 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 blah. That's the way that they thought to go about handling issues in a community.
Not to mention, a lot of the time, it's the wrong fucking address.
Yeah.
And they shoot some cunt's dog.
Yeah.
Because the dog doesn't know better. It jumps up and suddenly
It's defending its owner. Yeah.
This guy's got a gun.
Hang on, is this 412? Sorry.
Oh, this is 6. Are we under 9?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not to mention it cost the
insane.
state of Illinois, side note, $78 million to incarcerate all these people last year.
Yeah.
Which the most of
Costs.
them were for drug. Correct.
Yeah.
Which were for drug possession.
The system
We can't. We're an hour in, right?
Okay.
We're an hour in,
Alright.
and that is a massive kettle of fish
it's
about
a long-
privatising prisons,
It's a long.
public banking, all this stuff. This,
Correct.
You know,
Correct. Watch 13th, and we can discuss that next week. Have you watched 13th?
No, is it good?
It's amazing.
Okay.
Watch
That's
13th.
been on Netflix for a
In
while,
fact,
hasn't it?
watch it again. I'll watch it again. We should discuss that next week.
Okay, so guys, second episode of Blind Beef. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for
That was
tuning
it.
in.
Short and sweet.
Cheers.
Happy Saturday.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Boom.
Bye.